The first step in preparing to edit your story of inspiration is preparing your assets. Step 2 is to create a script and edit the video to fit the script. Step 3 is to go through the review process and polish the edit. To organize your video clips, audio files and photos, begin by creating a project folder with the title of your story. Next, create subfolders titled Script, Video, Audio, Transcriptions and Photo folders. If you're on a PC, create your folders in the PC Video folder. On a Mac, create them in the Movies folder. Since I'm editing on a Mac, they are in my Movies folder. Correct asset management is a very important step, because if you know where your assets are, you will spend time on the creative editing process. Next, take all of the assets you've created for your story and organize according to the folders you created. The script will go into the Script folder. All of the video files go into the Video folder. All of the audio such as music or sound effects go into the Audio folder. Transcriptions created from your video interview will go into the Transcriptions folder. Photographs go into the Photographs folder. Once they're placed in these folders, don't move them. In the motion picture industry, when we organize our assets, we don't move them. That way we always know where they are. Next, download the free version of Resolve at blackmagicdesign.com and download the free version. Resolve is an incredibly high-level professional editing system that's very easy to use and is used on almost every major motion picture. Stop the video here, download Resolve and open it, then start the video from this point. The first window that opens in Resolve is the Project Manager. Simply click on Untitled Project. After the project opens, save it with name of your project. Now stop the video and create your project. Next step is to become familiar with the workflow tabs at the bottom of the Resolve screen. They are Media, Cut, Edit, Fusion, Color, Fairlight, and Deliver. The Media tab is where the assets are input and organized. You will use the Edit tab to edit. Fusion is for creating special effects. You may want to do a little bit of color grading using this tab if some of the colors or the exposure is wrong. The Fairlight tab is where you set the audio levels. After your project is polished and ready for prime time, click on the Deliver tab and deliver it using the YouTube or Vimeo preset. Now click on the Media button. This is where the assets are organized. In the upper left-hand corner of the Media tab, use the File System and maneuver to your project folder on the computer. Remember, if you're on a PC, it's going to be in the Videos folder. If you're on a Mac, it's going to be in the Movies folder. Here are my asset folders. Drag the audio, photos and video folders into the master file window of Resolve. These folders are now called bins. Now that your assets are input into Resolve, click on the Edit tab and open your video bin folder in the master window. Click on the video bin and all the video assets can be viewed. Assets can be dragged from the bin to the timeline. Drag all the video clips of the interview in the correct order according to your script onto the timeline. The goal here is to create an audio transcript of the interview and create a script. If you have not placed your assets into Resolve, stop the tape here, find your video, audio, and photos folders and drag them into the master window. Next, drag the interview clips onto the timeline in the correct order. Now stop the tape and you do it. You may rewind the tape and watch this step over again if necessary. The next step is to output the audio of the timeline and create a transcript of the interviews. Now that all the interview clips are in order on the timeline, click on the Deliver tab. In the upper left-hand corner of the Render Settings window, scroll to Audio Only and double-click in the audio icon. In the window under the audio icon, find the pull-down menu and select MP3. Choose MP3. We are going to create an audio MP3 file which we'll use to create a transcript of the interview. In the correct window, give the file a name. Below the name, browse to your transcription folder. Your transcription audio file will go there. At the bottom of the render settings, there's a small window called Add to Render Queue. Click on Add to Render Queue and then move to the right of the Resolve window and click on Render All. This will create an MP3 file or a WAV file if you did this correctly. Now you do it. Create an audio file of all of your interviews in preparation for creating a transcript. You may rewind the tape and watch this step over again if necessary. To create a free transcript, go to getwelder.com. Create a free account and log into the Welder Studio like we are demonstrating here. Hover over Features at the top. Under Transcribe on the right, click on Audio to Text. Then click on Choose File and upload your interview footage. In the left-hand side of the screen there is a T button for Transcription Studio. When clicking on the T, the input window opens. Drag the audio file exported from Resolve and drop it into this window. Click on the Upload File button. The transcription will take a few minutes. After the transcript has finished processing, click on the transcript icon. This will open the transcript. Download it by clicking on the Download as Text button in the upper right of the frame. Place the text file into your subfolder called Transcriptions. Open the text file in Microsoft Word or another word processor and save it into the Transcriptions folder. Now you do it. Stop the tape and create a transcription. You may rewind the tape and watch this step over again if necessary. Now open the transcription in a word processor and create a paper cut script. Read through the script and highlight the best sections of the story. Next open Plotza.com in your browser. Go to the script stage and click on a scene and indent 3 times and type the name of the storyteller. It will be all caps. Here we call it narrator. It could be the name of the person who is telling the story. In your case, indent once and copy and paste the yellow highlighted sound bite that is the narrative dialogue. Continue to copy and paste the sound bites into the story. It's helpful if those are in order. Now you can add B-roll descriptions in the appropriate places by adding a VO by the narration that would be heard but not seen. B-roll is video of what the narrator is talking about. It is used to polish the story and adds interest. Under VO write the description of the B-roll. Next review your script by answering the review questions on Plotza and then request a peer review. Revise the script as necessary. Now you stop the tape, take your transcriptions and bring them into Plotza and create your first script. Now that you have a script completed and ready to go, it's time to open Resolve and edit your story. The video editing process is a rewriting process. First step is to assemble the video clips on the timeline according to the order on the script. Next, review the edit and cut out any unnecessary material. At this point, clips can be placed in different orders. The goal is to get the story flowing like a piece of music that lasts 3 to 4 minutes. The shorter the better. Let the edit sit for a day and revise it with new eyes. Trim until the story flows naturally. Get feedback from others on your edit. After the edit is tight and flowing well, add B-roll over the narration. This adds interest to the story. Assuming your footage is shot in 4K, you can zoom in tight when they say something that's important or when they get emotional. Then zoom back out after that sound bite. Here's a list of time-saving keyboard shortcuts. Stop the tape and copy them down on a piece of paper or do a search for them on the internet. Keyboard shortcuts save time. Now we're going to show you how it's done. Now that you've watched the video, stop the tape and you do it if you already haven't done it before. Once you have a cut review, output your rough cut. Use the Resolve Deliver tab just like we showed you how to do an audio file. This time, use the YouTube preset. Add the YouTube preset to the render queue and click Render. This will allow you to review the rendered file or to share it with others for a peer review. Ask them to make notes and then review your cut as appropriate. Now you do it. Share your video to the peer review group, get their notes and revise the video.
In the other left-hand corner, we have our bins. Go to the video bin and choose the first clip that you want to edit. I happen to have 3 clips for my story. I'm going to start with take 1, which is clip 1, and I just simply drag it over to the timeline. This is called the timeline, and I'll place it right on the beginning head of the timeline and drop it. I've got quite a bit of material at the beginning of a clip that we need to cut out. You're going to have your script right here in front of you, and so look for the very first line of dialogue. I'm using the JKL keys. L plays. Spacebar also plays. I can double punch the L key and go a little faster, or I can just drag this to the point that I want to make the first edit, and I'm just going to move. It's right about in this area here is my first edit.
I'm just going to let you go and tell this whole story.
Yeah. There we go. So I'm going to make this very loose. Our rough cut can be loose. I want to cut everything from the beginning to that point. So I'm going to put the O key for the out point, then go to the beginning where you want the edit to begin. I'm going to punch the in key for in. So now I have an in and out point. My next step is to click on the ripple delete key, which is not the normal delete key on your keyboard, but on your extended keyboard, there is a delete key with a little icon on the top of it. That's the ripple delete. Now notice what happens. It disappears. We're going to go to the next portion that we need to cut up. We've got our script with us, and I know that that script happens to be right about where she's pointing, and the script tells me that I need to actually cut out a few words that I don't need here.
Call my name to draw attention to me and just start yelling at me. And he would call me horrible names, and sometimes he'd get up in my face and point at me and just yell at me like this, and I remember just cowering like...
Okay, cowering. Right around here is where we want to start our edit. Okay, that's going to be my edit point. My script tells me I want to cut there, so I'm going to put an in point. Now I'm going to move forward to my next edit point.
Why is he doing this to me? What have I done? And I really racked my brains. Like, did I say something? Did I look at him weird?
Right here, look at him weird. I want to cut that out, so I put my out point right there. Now I'm going to hit that special ripple delete key. There we go. We've made 2 cuts now. Zoom in on the cut by using this little plus zoom in key on your timeline. This allows you to zoom in and out. And now I'll use my right and left arrow key to toggle between both sides of the cut. Notice that her image jumps back right here. That's called a jump cut. It's very unprofessional. What I'd like to do is to go into a tighter shot, which will give emphasis on the next sentence she says. To do a zoom in on a shot, go up to the upper right-hand corner and click on the inspector, and this cool little menu comes up that says zoom. So I've selected the clip. I'm now going to zoom right with my mouse. Notice I can zoom in, so I'm going to zoom into a tight shot. I shot this in 4K on my iPhone. When you shoot in 4K, you can zoom in without losing resolution. I need to position this down a little bit on the y-axis, and then I want to position it left a little bit on the x-axis. So there we go. I've composed my shot, and now let's look at what happens when we cut between the 2 shots. It cuts in on her. In fact, I'm going to go in just a little bit tighter and move that down a little bit to give it some headroom. Move it left just a little bit. All right, now let's just look at this cut.
Powering, like, why is he doing this to me? I couldn't figure out why this boy was bullying me.
Notice how this gives emphasis to the second part of the soundbite. Let's look at that again and notice how it helps us as an audience to understand how she feels.
Point at me and she'd yell at me like this, and I remember just cowering, like, why is he doing this to me? I couldn't figure out why this boy was bullying me.
There we go. It has given emphasis to the fact that she can't figure out why. The next thing we need to teach you is how to add some B-roll. Talking faces are kind of boring, so we want to have B-roll. When they tell the story, it's nice to have video which reflects what they're saying in the story. You want to get away from the talking face. So we're just going to randomly go to a still image of her. Go over to my bin. Notice we've organized everything. I'm going to go into my photos. I know that's where all my photos are. I'm going to drag this. Let's see if we can just add a video track there. If you drag it, it'll automatically add a video track, and I want that to go right above her talking. She's speaking on video track 1. We're putting a still image on video track 2. Now notice it doesn't cover the whole screen, so what I have to do is I have to zoom in. Oops. Notice you've got to click on the clip that you would like to zoom in. So I clicked on the still image on video track 2. I'm just going to zoom in here till it covers the whole screen. I need to move this down a little bit on my y-axis over here. Notice what I'm doing here. I need to move it up a little bit so that it doesn't cut off her friend's chin. So here we go. I now have some B-roll. So let's look at how this plays out here.
Point at me and she'd yell at me like this, and I remember just cowering, like, why is he doing this to me? I couldn't figure out why this boy was bullying me. And it happened once, and I was upset by it.
Okay, so it would be nice to have a photo or some video of her walking in the halls of the school, pondering why this person is bullying her. You can always shoot B-roll like that. Hopefully what we've demonstrated now will allow you to make a cut, hide the cut by zooming in on the shot right after the cut to give emphasis to what the person is saying, and next adding B-roll to hide the talking face. B-roll always helps to tell a more visual story. Now stop the tape here, open up Resolve, and you do it.